All right, week one NFL. DraftKings is back. Going to do a quick overview of the chart. I make this every single week for NFL. If I have time, I get to make one for the showdown matches, but if not, I will always have a chart for every week NFL. Even in the playoffs, I definitely get into the charts. I'm a statistics guy. Does that always work? Absolutely not. But it kind of gives you a good rough estimate of where to target. If you look down bottom right corner here, I kind of go off of Vegas totals. I'm big into that. I like to stack cheap quarterbacks and get some of those high-end guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, McCaffrey. Who else we got? Who else are we paying up for this week? Jamar Chase, of course. But week one always the pricing is always off in week one, so plug and play basically. I'm gonna be stacking. You can kind of spread here, however you want to do it. If you want to go from worst options, this is all based on last year's statistics. So Miami was the best against quarterback position if you're looking at the chart here, and if you want to go who had the best matchup or defensively, who was the worst against QBs, Tampa Bay last year. This is all last year statistics. I know coaching has changed, so I'm definitely not going to use this as like the holy grail. Usually about a month in is where we start seeing any changes for coaching wise. We kind of get a good grasp of how the coaches run their defensive system. There's a lot of talk about Michael Penix this year and Bijan Robinson. His matchup is not that favorable, I guess, if you're looking at last year, but he's a guy that's going to touch the ball probably 20 times, probably 5 catches, and we're looking at I think he's actually, if I pull it up, I think he is the highest. Yeah, he's the most expensive running back on the slate. Which ownership? Let's look at ownership for him. Bijan Robinson. If you look over here, we have it all split up. Bijan Robinson, 10% ownership. So if you go cheap at QB, get a cheap stack. It's definitely somebody that you can get interest in. Definitely, if you're looking at the other running backs and his price frame, what we say he was 8,000. You got Gibbs, McCaffrey. McCaffrey's just going to be, he's going to be the highest owned. Him and Chase Brown. I know this is still early in the week, but I don't see much changing on that unless it goes higher for McCaffrey. I've been starting a lot of my builds with him. He just seems somebody that's easy to plug in and then build around him. I don't understand. I don't play fantasy football. Not really my thing, but I don't see why he keeps dropping. His workload is just going to be just the same. I see a lot. He was, I think, he offensive player of the year 2 years ago, something like that. I don't remember what award he won, but still CMC at the end of the day. If you look over here, we got all the ownership quarterbacks. I think this part is going to change a little bit throughout the week. It's Monday right now. The ownership is definitely heavier. T-Law, Daniels, and Daniel Jones. I like all of those guys. Probably a little less of Daniel Jones. I've never been high on him. And then Burrow. I don't know if you guys have watched Quarterback on Netflix, or was it Quarterback? I don't remember what show he was in. But he's the type of guy you want to build 150 stacks around a quarterback one week, and you say, I want to build it around Joe Burrow. I'm on page. I like Burrow. Burrow is easy to stack. You know where the football is going. It's not a surprise. He's going to dish it down to Chase Brown. He's going to throw it to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I mean, that's it. Maybe 5 passes to the tight end. I'm not too worried about the tight end. Burrow's Burrow's definitely one of those stacks where you overstack him sometimes, and I've seen that win the Millie Maker. So I normally don't stack over 2 pass catchers with him. I will mix in a running back with that type of quarterback where he's not that mobile. He's not going to take off and run. So I will kind of mix in some Chase Brown with Burrow this year. All right, we're going to kind of build a lineup here and then go from there. You look at all the games here, and then if you kind of really don't know where to start, let's just say you can either start with your favorite team, or you can come down and look at what Vegas likes, right? So we're gonna do this build based off of ownership and Vegas totals. So 49.5. We have the Lions and Packers. Next after that, Buccaneers, Falcons. I don't think this game is getting enough attention. If we're going based on Vegas, I really don't know what to think about the Lions. I think they still have really, really good players. I have no idea who's calling their plays. The coach went to the Bears. I can't remember his name. Just a brilliant offensive mind. I'm not sure if they still have that. I really don't know. But they still have elite players nonetheless. So we're going to build our lineup based off of that. Now, we could go... I've always been a huge Jordan Love fan. I just don't know. I think we'll go... I really don't know who's favorite. I think the... what am I trying to say? I think the Packers are favored. We'll go Packers here. Jordan Love paired up with... Who are his guys? It's an afternoon game. Is Jordan Reed playing? They moved everything. Fractured foot. Plans to play through the end of the season. Okay. We'll just do it for the sake of the video. Kraft, pretty bad matchup here. Maybe we can get a run back. This is a really cheap stack. Got a brand new toy here. Golden. We'll go with Jordan, Love, Reed, and Golden. And let's do a little bring back. Gibbs is kind of expensive. Laporte is kind of expensive. David Montgomery, super cheap. Just, looking at their splits. 57, it's a $2,000 difference between these two. What's his ownership? This is where we can go from here. Gibbs. Can you see? I think you can see. Gibbs, 5%. Yeah. Alright. We'll go Gibbs here, see what else we can get in. Where am I trying to go? Alright, $5,180 left. Who do we want to pick on? I really think I have a little interest in the Cardinals defense. I'm not sure how much I'm not sure how much they are. 3,500. 51. Let's go. Let's just throw a chump defense in here. Raiders against New England 26. Detroit Green Bay. We're not going to play that, obviously. Alright. I don't like Daniel Jones. I don't know about Miami's secondary, but they have some good defensive line. We'll go Dolphins. Defense, I typically like to pair up a running back with the defense, but I think that game is... I don't know what I want to do. Let's change that. We'll leave it. We do have interest in our boy A-Chain. He's coming in around third in ownership. I'm cool with that. We'll go ahead and toss him in as well. A-Chain, is he questionable? Is he gonna, I think he's going to play. A-Chain will practice and remain on track. Yeah. He's going to play. They're not going to sit him. A-Chain. Alright, 6,900. Tight end here. I think that ownership is, it's kind of all over the place, honestly. No tight end has crazy ownership, which is fine. I think mainly this is all a correlation thing. So if your QB is whoever you pick is they're probably trying to get tight end in there as well. I am not going to be playing this Green Bay stack. I really don't know much about Matthew Golden, but we're just going off of Vegas totals here. Alright, so Jordan Love, Gibbs, A-Chain, Reed, Golden so far. We have Miami's defense paired up with A-Chain. Totally cool with that. It leaves us 5,433. We can pay up at tight end. Let's just mess around here. I like Trey McBride. 5,000 each. I know Pearsall's pretty cheap. Wide receiver. Let's not do that. Evan Ingram. Hate you now. As a Jags fan, you used to be cool. Now you're not. So, good enough. You're probably going to do pretty good in Denver. I like Bo Nix, and you're a freak athlete, but the way you left and what you said afterwards, good for you. Alright, we have another matchup here. Tight end. We got 48.5. This Falcons-Bucks game. I do have some interest in that game. Another early morning game. Everybody hates Kyle Pitts. Could it be his year? Maybe. He's fairly cheap. Let's just see. Plug him in. That way we're getting some of that game. He's got low ownership. We're getting exposure to that high game. $6,000. I'm good with that. Who is up next? We can get a correlation. Let's get a correlation off that game. So we got a Falcons player, wide receiver, big old Mike Evans. You want Big Mike? Who is that? Who am I looking at? Tampa Bay. Egbuka. 7,400. Let's see in the flex. Is that going to get us to CMC? It does get us to CMC. My goodness. So Gibbs, A-Chain, CMC. I don't know. I probably won't be playing too much CMC and A-Chain in a lineup together. But I guess when you have a lineup like this, I am not going to be playing this lineup. This guy's going to be good. Stroud has to throw him the ball. We'll go ahead and plug CMC in. Make sure in your flex spot you are putting that afternoon player. That way you can always late swap if you need to. Alright, recap. We went after the highest over-under game on the week. I'm not probably going to get to this. How did he end up doing? I had a lot of interest in him last year, and he kind of just faded away. Kind of sad. This Golden, Matthew Golden, 2 targets. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to watch some tape on him before we kick off Sunday. All right, you can see Jordan Love paired up with Golden, Jordan Reed, Gibbs, and is the run back here on that game that we're going after. A-Chain with the Dolphins defense. Kyle Pitts, we went after that second highest scoring over-under. That Falcons-Buccaneers game went after that. We got Kyle Pitts and Egbuka. And then our heavy hitter here, CMC. Pretty good lineup. That is kind of how I build my lineups. If I get to that, I get to that. You can play it if you want. I'm probably not going to play this. I always beat myself up as a Jags fan because I will stack Trevor Lawrence over and over and over again, and then I get so mad, and then next week that I don't play him, he scores 30 points, ends up winning the mill. He wins it like once a year, and that is the week that I'm not playing him. So I got to figure that out. All right, back to the chart. If you do want access to this chart, no big deal. I'll drop something in the YouTube channel to where you can get access to this chart, probably through Discord. But if we do it through Discord, you're not going to be able to kind of sort how you want. If you're looking for your running back, you can kind of sort here by that points per game that the defense gives up to that position. Again, some defensive coaches have changed, so this isn't the set in stone Bible yet, but it just gives us a good way to break down the slate here. I normally sort it by quarterback here, and that way you can see. Or if you want, you can start your build however you want. If you're like, hey, I want to plug a tight end in, go here, and you can kind of see where you want. I'm always play my quarterback, but I do like to sort it by wide receiver here and kind of see who I should be stacking. If you kind of look here, you got Trevor Lawrence in a good spot, ETN in a good spot. The entire wide receiving core is in a good spot. I kind of I put the guys in bold that I think have good matchups that week. It will vary, and people that get a ton of targets. And you have the tight end, so you literally have every position supposedly in a good spot. I do think the Panthers still have their same defensive coordinator that has just been horrendous, but I do think they improved in the draft. So if they've got some guys up front that can stop the run, the Jags have not been able to run the ball that well. So who knows? You sort however you want. So I sorted here by wide receiver. And if you're like, I don't want to play Trevor Lawrence, well, let's go to the next matchup here. It's against the Saints. They're not looking so hot this year. Kyler Murray, I think I was looking at this the other day. He was kind of crushing it in fantasy. Like, solid. I didn't pay attention to that last year. He had a couple games. I mean, we're really looking for anything that's going to, 3x his payment. 6,000 here. What is that? Over 4.5 almost. 4x. He's got, his rushing floor. Where's his rush attempts? 2 this game. Did he play that whole? I don't know if he played that whole game. But you are definitely getting some chances, and I think we see that again. This game is in a dome regardless whether it's home, because they're both dome teams. I do have interest in Kyler Murray. I have interest in James Conner. This guy's going to get 20 touches. Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know what he is doing. He's put on a lot of muscle. Good for him, but I don't know if he's still... I don't know what they're doing. That coach is weird, but we're looking for fantasy points here. You can go Kyler, Marvin, Trey McBride, or if you want that run game, all good here. The reason I don't have ETN in bold, even though he's in a good spot, I think he's going to be splitting with Bigsby. And what Liam Cohen did last year with both of those running backs, I think he's going to be in the same spot. He does have a lot to prove, so maybe he has a good year. I don't know. You could go Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride. Trey McBride is a target monster. I really don't even... There's a reason he's 62. Targets. 11, 16. Only 4 here. 10, 14, 12, 15. Yeah, it's insane. This guy gets a lot of targets. These are all losses. And then you have this one. Just trying to see why he all of a sudden went crap. He was getting all the targets. Yeah. This guy's going to get a lot of work. That's all there is to it. Um, and I'm pretty sure the Saints are not that great against tight end. They're, I guess, about average. Um, but I do have interest in Kyler Murray's run game, and him paired up. Marvin Harrison Jr. has got to get going at some point. All right, Michael Penix, he's a part of that big game here at the bottom. That 48.5 total that we were looking at. Definitely have interest in him. Kyle Pitts, I know it's hard to say or even think about, but I will be getting to Kyle Pitts. I'm not going to go play by play here, but I do have some names highlighted that I'm going to have interest in. I don't know why I highlighted this one. I think just because he the only running back in Houston. That might have been why. Let's check. Houston. I know Joe Mixon's out. I don't even know these other guys. I know Pierce because he was a Gator, but I mean, this guy's just not. He's a good kick returner. Other than that, I just haven't seen him get enough work. Jaden Daniels, one of the highest. I think that's more based on like cash games, your 50-50s. These cores are more GPP plays that we're looking at, that guaranteed prize pool with big money up top to first place. Last guy I'll mention here, Brock Purdy. Because CMC is the highest owned running back, I really think he gets closer to 40, maybe 35%. I think Chase Brown will be high 20s. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I do have interest in Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, I know it's kind of based on last year, but he had a rough outing when CMC wasn't in the game. When CMC plays, he is a different quarterback. I do think him and Pierce Law have already found a good connection, and George Kittle is always in play. Defensively, these are some teams. I made this chart like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it's not all the way up to date. It'll definitely be all the way figured out probably by like Friday, if not Saturday. So if you guys have any questions at all, just let me know.